Good afternoon, watchers. Scott at SE Landscaping, and it is good to be back in the normal swing of things with the weather better now. It's been a good week, lots of jobs done. Well, I think I mentioned on previous videos talking about my plans, and as most people know, I had some issues earlier on last year with an infection and a hospital visit, and it sort of got me to take stock a bit of things, and I was up and down as to what I was going to do. Obviously I still love the trade and I wanted to stay in the trade, but I was exploring options. So I looked around to see what was on offer for someone with my qualifications and panache, if that's a word. I think it is. Sounded good at the time anyway. So I saw a local council not far from me, which is in a place called Darlington. I'm under Durham, but this is Darlington, and it's about 10 minutes. And they were looking for a team leader in a park, and I thought, well, I'll inquire just to see what things are about, really. And when I inquired, when I went to meet this chap who oversees the whole of the sort of green spaces in the council, they have various big sites in Darlington, and they have this large park which includes tennis courts, bowling greens, a big pond and everything else, and that's where they were looking for a team leader to run a gang of 3 in the park. And I had the qualifications, and now the funny thing is, if I'd accepted, or if I'd have gone for the role, this was obviously an informal chat prior, which I just wanted to speak to him. If I'd have gone for the role, even though I would have been the most qualified person there, he couldn't put me on a grade that, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, he couldn't put me on a grade that I would, that other people would be on in that council. Because you've got to work for that council and work your way up in increments and stages. Anybody who works for councils will know what I mean. Basically, it's a load of crap. So you would be more qualified than someone else who is possibly working under you and earning very little amounts of money more. So, I mean, the role started off as £27,000, and in the end, by the time you'd done the increments, which would probably be a year or two, you'd be up to 33,000. So it wasn't a huge amount overall anyway. The top end of that wasn't a huge amount, which I know it's councils, it's local authorities, it's not well paid. I mean, I know I know lots of people in local councils, and they're not well paid in the trade. Yes, it's not, councils are known for not being hard jobs. The majority, this isn't all of them, because I do know a few lads who do work hard, but the majority council workers are the lean on the shovel types. Got to mention Andy here, because I know that he'll pick up on this. Andy and a few more people do graft, but like I say, the majority that I do know, they haven't got a good day's work in them. So that sort of came and went, and it was like I say, I did think about it, but I'll come on to money in a bit and how much it would have been dropping. But the next one I looked at was a local garden was looking for an assistant head gardener, and when I inquired, and when I went to meet the head gardener, who I actually knew from previous, that I'd worked with many years ago, it turns out that the plan was the assistant head gardener would take over from the head gardener in about 18 months time once he retired. Wages on this job were, the assistant head gardener was on £30,000 a year. Now the proper, once your time's up and you take over this new role, the head gardener's on £38,000 a year. So there is a bit of big chunk of cash difference, but it's still, the problem with this trade is you've got to do it for the love and not for the money, and that's why it isn't a well-paid trade. Even though some of the skills and your degrees and things, it takes longer to get them than some professionals in other types of work. It actually takes longer to get qualifications in this trade than other trades, but unfortunately it's never been a good trade for money. and that's sort of why the people go down the self-employed route, because there is, I'll come on to it in a minute, there is good money to be made. So there was a couple of options there, and yes, those options are going to be easy. The other problem with the big open garden that I was talking about, which is open to the public, and they sort of creating new things, and it's making good money. It used to be just a small garden, but now it's making good money. They're adding things to it all the time. They're creating different pockets to the garden and different things. So in sort of a few years, it's going to be well established, and it's going to be a nice. It's going to be a nice place to visit, which people do visit. I've visited with my family. It's a nice spot. So the cash is like, it's more to do with if you love the job, you're working somewhere that's nice. But coming back to the money, and the reason that I've stuck to what I'm going to do and what I'm going to explain in a bit is, I've been accustomed the last few years, I think I've explained in previous videos, I've worked years and years for peanuts and building a business and investing back in the business and not taking a wage. But the last 3 to 5 years I've been very, very lucky that I've took out decent amounts of money. So for instance, I'm going to chuck figures out there because people don't tend to talk about how much they earn. My basic pay now is £50,000 a year before tax. On top of that, I put £30,000 into a pension each year, and then I take dividends for holidays and various other things of roughly £10,000 to £15,000. So that puts me as a gardener on £100,000 a year. No bullshit, no anything like that. The figures are there. Most people close to me in the trade, I've got a lot of friends in the trade who we meet up, they know how I make me money and things like that. And yes, there's not many gardeners make £100,000 a year, so you could say I'm lucky, but like I say, I've worked for it. If you tallied it up, the years where I wasn't making £100,000 a year and I was only making like 20 or something, it's probably evened out. But like I say, the last few years have been good, and with the pension I'm protecting my future. So what I decided was I would cut back on my contracts. So it's again, I've got a lot of rolling contracts. Well, not a lot, I haven't got many customers, as you know. So the plan was to let 2 go, to keep the rest. There's one of them was due for tender, the other's auto renewals. So I played a bit, I rolled the dice, as you say, and I let one go to tender, and I bumped the price up. And I was lucky enough that, when was it? A fortnight ago, I was informed that they wanted a meeting with me, and things, it was basically coming back that even though my price had sort of increased, then that I was getting the job back. So what that meant was, the work that I was letting go, this money off this new contract was filling in. So basically, for the next 4 years, I'm getting paid more money to do less work. And you could say that's good business sense. It's the way I've done it. So yes, I'm scaling back on the work, but I'm making more money. It still means that there's money there to, like I say, all me equipment, all my vans are new. So there's still money to invest in the business, but just not as much. I used to invest 40 to 60k in the business. I no longer need to do that now. I mean, this van, for instance, now, this Citroen it's got 11,000 miles on. So my mileage has dropped over the last few years. I'm doing less mileage because I'm not going as far. Most weeks I'm averaging probably 60 to 70 miles on an average. That's the mileage I'm doing, so that's how close all my jobs are. And that's had an effect on the fuel as well. I mean, we don't spend 30 grand a year on fuel anymore, running 3 vans and running lots of mowers and everything like that. So the fuel's dropped through the floor, and all the other expenses have dropped through the floor. And even, I was quite surprised again, 2nd year in a row, my vehicle insurances have dropped, which is quite surprising. I used to have fleet insurance, and now I have separate policies because it worked out cheaper. But they've actually dropped again, and I know a lot of places the fuel prices are sorry, the insurance prices. People are saying that they're paying more. I don't know about different parts of the country. I don't know. People say it affects where your postcodes are, but my insurance has dropped, which is good. So that's another positive. And I've just been looking at, like I say, the business from more of a business point of view, because the last sort of 5 years where money's just been coming in very easily, as people know, and I've been going to these shows and spending money like water on machinery because the money's been coming in very easily. I'm managing it more now, so that if I want a product or a tool or something like that, it's coming from good business decisions. So I'm not just going out and thinking, oh, I like that, I'm going to buy that. Now that it's a business decision of, do you need it? Do you need to upgrade it? And that's the thing with the vans. Obviously, I used to have a rolling thing where every 3 years a new vehicle would come. Now that's not going to be needed, because this is 2-year-old. It's done 11,000 miles. So by the time it's 3-year-old, say it's got 15,000 miles on, it's just not viable to put it in. So I'll probably move the vans to maybe 5 or 6 years to renew. Same with the machines. The machines are doing less and less work because you're not doing as much work. So it's the same again. Most of my machines are very new or have very limited hours on, so it's the same again. It's pointless. It's pointless renewing a machine like I used to with 100 hours on. You need to just hang on to it for sort of 3 to 5 years again. It's not going to come with any extra costs because you're not thrashing it day to day. As well as that, another reason I used to renew stuff regular was because you had staff. Staff don't look after the equipment as much as yourself, so that's another reason the business is doesn't need to renew, doesn't need to spend as much again. So that's where we are, in the happy place. So I've got security going into the next, well, I've got job security going just short of the next decade, and I've also, most importantly, got a backup plan. So should anything happen with my health or anything, I've got some contractors in place who can help me out and who can deliver my services, which is good. So there shouldn't be any problems there. But going forward, I'm sticking to what I'm doing. I'm sticking to what I love the best. I'm making some bloody good money at it while I can, because, like I say, even though I've got 4 to 5 years of workload ahead of me, it flies over. I mean, I've been in the business 17 years now, and I don't know where the 17 years have gone. So it does go by very quick. So, like I say, I've got a plan. Keep getting the money in the pension, and then in a few years' time, if I do still want to opt out and look at these head gardening jobs, then it gives me the option that I can see out my days somewhere else, or I can cut back again and do less and less of work as you get older. It just gives you, it's nice to be, at my age, it's nice to have good options rather than thinking, right, I'll be dropping the bits at 60, I'll be dropping the bits at 65, and I've still got to go out and I've still got to do 12 hours a day, and I've still got to do this and do that. At least you're planning ahead. It's giving you some good options to come up with a system that works and to come up with planning your future. So that's where we are. We keep going again, and like I say, the weather's good at the moment, so I've been having some good progress at the moment. Been doing a lot of pruning, but with the Elliott as well, so there's been no waste away and things like that. So it's a bit of a matter of pruning something onto the floor, and then it's straight back onto the shrub beds or straight back under the hedges as mulch. So it's there's been no, yes, hedge cutting is hard work, it does take its toll on you, but it's not like it was years ago. Hedge cutting now consists of lightweight tools, and it consists of me with the Elliott being more productive and having something that I can drive to the job, so that you're not carrying bags of prunings for miles and miles. So it does mean that this trade is a hell of a lot easier than it used to be, and that only comes with having the right equipment. So So that's just an update for 2025 and the years heading into the future. And thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.